Okay, we lied to the Iraqis in Baghdad. Oh no, we're not giving the Contras no aid. Oh no, we're not giving the Iranians anything. Yeah, the next day the Iraqis shot a missile into the U.S. naval vessel Stark, killing 37 sailors. blood money for the rich to get richer. Meanwhile, we turn our backs to the Lithuanian people. We allow our women to go fight. We allow our women to fight for these rich Arabs, and then those women can't even be women. They can't have their crucifixes. They cannot have their Bibles. What is going on in America? I would like to know. I'm asking you, Governor Casey, where are our gas masks? Where is our protection?
This guy's talking about a hypothetical danger. We've already lost 1,000 Americans. We've lost more American lives.
I'm not worried about the AIDS right now. There's a bigger thing going on than the AIDS epidemic. All right?
That's good. Thanks. Listen, I'll talk to you.
I'd like to wake up the whole state of Pennsylvania again.
General Assembly of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and their spouses. Senior staff, the Lieutenant Governor's senior staff, and their spouses. James Kelly. Genevieve Blatt. Honored mayors of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. gentlemen, please welcome the family of Governor Robert P. Casey. Ladies and gentlemen, the Majority Leader in the House of Representatives, Bill Louise, and Archbishop Bevilacqua. Ladies and gentlemen, Bishop Cummings and the Speaker of the House, Robert O'Donnell. Ladies and gentlemen, Marquis Casey McGrath, daughter of Governor Robert P. Casey, Mr. and Mrs. Jody Philbin, Mary Ellen, daughter of Governor Robert P. Casey. Mrs. Jackie Single.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bill Nealon, and I have the privilege of being your master of ceremonies at this memorable event. 4 years ago, at this very time, and on this very platform, I had the pleasure of introducing our governor-elect and his wonderful wife, Ellen. And on behalf of those of us who were personally associated with him over the years and were intimately familiar with his immense capabilities and determination, I stated the following. We know him as one who truly loves Pennsylvania and regards public service as a sacred trust. And we know him further as one who brings to this, the highest office in the Commonwealth, a profound intellectual capacity, opportunity to perform in a position of governmental responsibility. He has fulfilled that trust honestly and fearlessly. And as a result, he has earned the respect, admiration, and support of the people of Pennsylvania. If you will recall, in 1968, he assumed his first statewide office when he was elected Auditor General of Pennsylvania. 4 years later, after successfully demonstrating his enormous talent and commitment, he was re-elected by a resounding vote of 530,000 majority. His, on the Republican ticket, carried Pennsylvania by 917,000 votes. In 1986, facing a new generation of voters, he was elected governor by a slim majority of 79,000 votes. 4 years later, after having been given once again the opportunity to prove his exceptional qualities of leadership and competence, he carried 66 of the 67 counties in Pennsylvania and was re-elected by a majority of 1,077,728 votes, the largest majority vote ever achieved by any gubernatorial candidate in the history of the Commonwealth. Let's think about that again for a moment. The man I am about to introduce received the greatest majority in the 200-year history of gubernatorial elections in Pennsylvania, dating back to the election of 1790. Let's give a rousing welcome to this honorable and extraordinary man of character and vision who epitomizes all that is good and decent in public service. Ladies and gentlemen, with great pride, I present to you Governor and Mrs. Robert P. Casey. To lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, we are fortunate to have the highly regarded Executive Director. Gracing us with his presence and offering invocation touch to this ceremony, it is a pleasure to recognize at this time the Reading Community Gospel Choir for a choral liturgy. Everyone on the platform, please be seated.
What do we want? What do we want?
Thank you. We are honored to have present with us today Rabbi Mark B. Greenspan of Temple Beth El in Harrisburg, who will extend spiritual guidance with a scriptural reading. Rabbi Greenspan.
Hey, it's the Holocaust!
A Psalm of David. The earth.
But it has been wisely said, if disagreement is the hallmark of democracy, then disagreement with respect is the salvation of democracy. We who serve in government then should commit ourselves today to cooperate with Governor Casey as he attempts to achieve these goals. And so, on behalf of Governor and Mrs. Casey, and on behalf of their official and their personal families, I extend a very special welcome to you public and elected officials to this inaugural ceremony. And on your behalf, I extend to the Governor our prayers and our fondest hopes that God will give to him the wisdom to know what's right and the courage to do it as he leads this great Commonwealth into the last decade of the 20th century.
Archbishop Bevilacqua, Rabbi Greenspan, Bishop Timlin, Bishop Cummings, for our Honorable Chief Justice Robert Hicks, and the other judiciaries here on this podium, and to our honored members of the Senate and the House of the Pennsylvania General Assembly, to United States Senator Specter and House Member Paul Panjorski, friends. It is indeed a distinct pleasure to be reading the certificate of the governor's election. Donald, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Frank A. Salvatore, teller on the part of the Senate, and William R. Lloyd, Jr., teller on the part of the House. Thank you, and congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment we've been waiting for. To administer the oath of office, I now call on the distinguished and much admired Chief Justice of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, the Honorable Robert N.C. Nix, Jr.
Chief Justice Nix, I want to express my thanks for your presence, for your kind words here today. Lieutenant Governor Singal, I express my thanks to you for your distinguished service as Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth. Indebted to you and the people of the Commonwealth, indebted to you for that service. I'm grateful. Distinguished members of the clergy here today who honor us by their presence. Leaders of the General Assembly who are here with us from both houses, Democrats and Republicans, welcome. You honor us by your presence. Judge Nealon, a friend of a lifetime, delighted that you're here today to grace this ceremony. Judge Conroy, who with does not exist in Iraq. It does not exist today in Lithuania. It exists, thank God, in the United States. I will say also to them, in a spirit of compassion, that I understand the depths of their feelings. What family among us has not experienced the tragedy of an incurable illness? That feeling is not limited to the group that's here today. It's a part of the life of virtually every family in our state. We understand the depth of their feeling. But I would say to them simply this: we respect your right to dissent, but please respect the rights of all of the people who are here, who traveled many miles to be part of this historic ceremony. We ask you to respect our rights as well. You have made your point. Now please, as the leader of Pennsylvania, let me make my point to the people of our Commonwealth, and let us work together, as we have over the past 4 years, to find the solution to that problem. And I might say that Pennsylvania is contributing $36 million of state and federal money to finding that solution. But let us find that solution together, instead of making personal attacks, which advance no one's cause. You've made your point. Please let me make my point now in this inaugural address. Thank you. On this January 15th, we come to mark the beginning of a new administration. It's a celebration of democracy, a celebration of freedom, but it's also a moment of tension and danger for our nation and for the world. For this is the night, just hours from now, when America's sons and daughters, thousands of them from Pennsylvania, will stand on the nice edge of war in the Persian Gulf. We pray for them, that they may be strong, and for ourselves, that we may be worthy of their valor. Even at this late hour, we continue to hope and pray fervently for a peaceful end to that crisis. I welcome in a special way the families of those now serving in the Persian Gulf who are here today. We're honored by your presence, we're moved by your courage. Our prayer today is that all of your loved ones will come home safely and soon. So here at this inauguration, as we renew and celebrate our democracy, let us remember and honor all those who've shaped it and defined it, enriched it, and defended it in times past, tonight and tomorrow, and in all the days to come. 4 years ago, we gathered here in common purpose. We placed before our people the unfinished business of Pennsylvania. We pledged that Pennsylvania was coming back, and so it has. And all the progress of these last 4 years gives us confidence that we can meet the new fiscal challenge which faces us. A problem caused by a national recession that threatens both our people. Remembering may prevent a future generation from repeating it. But it's not enough simply to lament these obstacles in our path. Instead, we must act now and act decisively to overcome them. So with or without Washington, with or without the federal government coming to its fiscal senses and responding to the recession, we will work together to keep Pennsylvania on the right path. Condoms now, please say sex. Condoms now, please say sex. Condoms now. We will respond to our present situation with energy and enthusiasm and a belief in ourselves. Let be no doubt. We will overcome the fiscal challenge and continue to make Pennsylvania the rising new star of America. The recession is no reason to lower our sights, but only to renew our efforts. Many years from now, others look back on this period. I believe we'll be measured by our adherence to certain fundamental and basic principles. First, government spending the people's money, not the government's money. Before those in government seek any more tax dollars, we must see to it that we get the most out of every tax dollar already entrusted to us. The state budget will be cut. And no doubt certain groups and interests will disagree. But we must balance fairly the interests of all our people. And we will not ask our people to pay more without first making government spend less.
One organization
Derives from several basic things.
as far as I've been.
From the core strength of Pennsylvania, the new Pennsylvania economy, more diverse and resilient than ever
In
before.
terms of vocal,
My confidence in the future comes from our multi-billion-dollar investment in economic, environmental, and intellectual infrastructure, highways, bridges, airports, water systems, research and development projects, which are the cornerstone of future economic growth. My confidence in the future comes most of all from you, I've been out there among you these past 40 years, more than any government before me. Town meetings all across the state. I know your toughness.
Nice to meet you too.
And I know your determination. And I know your values. Courage that has brought us through even tougher times in the past. And a strength that will carry us through problems of the present into a bright future. So today, my fellow citizens, we move forward with the same firm resolve and unity of purpose with which we began 4 years ago. Then we were told Pennsylvania was yesterday's state. Today, 400,000 more of our people are working. Cooperation between labor and management is at an all-time high. Hundreds more high-tech productive companies. We've recruited new companies. We've encouraged entrepreneurs. And we've searched the world for markets and investments. And on all these fronts, we've only just begun to fight. And we know in our hearts that the progress of the first 4 years has already become a first line of economic defense. The gains we've made in Pennsylvania have caused some experts to conclude the recession here will be shorter and less severe than elsewhere. Our success in creating new jobs, like bringing Sony to Western Ohio and investing in the port of Philadelphia, all of these we've only just begun to fight. We've invested more in our children's education, set higher standards for our schools, challenged and supported our teachers, brought new health care to young mothers and infants in need, reached out to the elderly, to the sick, and the disabled, and created a pen-free anti-drug program to become a model for the nation. And on all these fronts, we've only just begun to fight. Above all else, we've kept faith with the people. We defeated the special interests in the year-long battle to roll back auto insurance rates in Pennsylvania. And for all this and more, we've only just begun to fight. because this much I know, that so do you. We've been challenged and we have prevailed. We will prevail again, and we will continue to fight to make Pennsylvania a place where the American dream can come to fruition when we realize for all our people. And finally, I must tell you that on this day, my heart is filled with many things. With a special memory that today is the birthday of
Someday someone will have to explain to me how that kind of a senseless demonstration advances the cause that they are attempting. It seems to me that they gain no support today and alienated thousands from their cause.
Everybody's caught!
Would you please extend the common decency? The program will now end with two scriptural presentations by none of the cloth. It's a great personal pleasure for me to present at this time the beloved Bishop of the Diocese of Scranton, who will offer a prayer on behalf of the Governor and the Governor's administration.
Continue their labors on behalf of us all. Help them, O Lord, to find the solutions, to protect our environment, to respect our own God-given resources, and to improve our understanding of the preciousness of all of life. Inspire our chosen leaders, O Lord, that they might always show compassion for the poor, the homeless, the neglected, and forsaken souls in our midst. Heavenly Father, we ask you to hear our prayers for peace in the Middle East. Help us to love our enemies, not by countenancing their sins, but by remembering our own. And may we never for a moment forget that they are fed by the same food.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to congratulate you on your wonderful patience and restraint this afternoon. We will now conclude the program by calling on an eminent churchman to pronounce benediction. May I present to you the Right Reverend Bishop Frank C. Cummings, presiding from the Episcopal District, AME, Church of Philadelphia. Bishop
God, our Creator, who has brought us through history to this time and place.
Looks rather shabby. Yeah, that was like very long time. Yeah, we have a bar there.
You know what, though? To Governor.
Thank you very much, Chief Justice. Thank you.
Governor Casey returns to his job under very different circumstances than he did 4 years ago. Back then, the state had a surplus. Now it's running a deficit. And the nation was at peace. Now it's on the brink of war. Over the shouts of AIDS activists, the governor addressed those concerns. He spoke to families of soldiers serving in the Persian Gulf. Some he had invited to sit in the VIP section.
We pray for them, that they may be strong, and for ourselves, that we may be worthy of their valor.
The governor blamed the recession and the federal government for the Commonwealth's budget woes, and he asked for cooperation from lawmakers to find a solution without raising taxes.
The state budget will be cut, and no doubt certain groups and interests will disagree. But we must balance fairly the interests of all our people, and we will not ask our people to pay more without first making government spend less.
And with his wife Ellen looking on, the governor pledged his very best effort over these next 4 years.
Bring on the future, because Pennsylvania is ready.
It was a good speech, but because of the direction of the microphone, I think it's difficult to understand the real impact those AIDS activists had on disrupting the proceedings.
Anyone who wasn't there doesn't know exactly how interrupting it was to him and to hear that speech.
Well, before the inauguration even began, the very vocal protesters were in place shouting slurs and insults at the governor. And although much of Casey's day went exactly as planned, the noisy disturbance was a factor no one was prepared for. As he did 4 years ago, Governor Casey began the day with a trip to Mass. A capacity crowd of family and friends turned out for the service. They gave the governor a warm welcome and joined in prayer for a successful second term.
2,600 dead with AIDS! Where is Bob?
Once outside, the governor's reception cooled, and from early on, there was no question the inaugural crowd was divided.
Shame, 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 shame! Progress of these last 4 years.
Fight AIDS!
My fellow citizens,
50 demonstrators traveled from Philadelphia and Lancaster to protest the inauguration. The AIDS advocates call themselves ACT UP. They accuse the governor of cutting funding for AIDS programs. ACT UP wasn't alone in its displeasure.
This is a prime example of the officials don't give a about nothing else except for their own fancy bodies. They don't care about the people.
To help keep the crowd under control, state police worked together with Harrisburg's officers. Although they knew the protesters were coming, no special security steps were taken.
Nothing because of the demonstrators, nothing extra. Our security is based around Governor Casey.
Before Governor Casey even began speaking, one member of ACT UP was arrested for disorderly conduct. And from the sounds of others who attended the ceremony today, all of the activists went too far in their protest.
Well, they sure ruined Casey's inauguration, I think. He couldn't hear her speech properly.
I thought it was sad that they had to be something like that to spoil such a beautiful occasion.
But even the governor couldn't convince the protesters to be quiet.
You have made your point. Now, please, as the leader of Pennsylvania, let me make my point.
The disruption made this year's inauguration a far cry from what we saw 4 years ago, and I'm sure it wasn't the kind of welcome Casey had hoped for to begin his next term.
His thoughts. They also voiced concern about the state's fiscal woes. We were talking about having a surplus in the budget. Now all of a sudden we have a deficit, and I'm very concerned about that.
Well, I'm concerned about people being out of work. I know people personally who are not having jobs right now, not having job security, and that's the one thing I'm concerned about.
But Casey says the strength of the people will overcome the challenges.
Let there be no doubt. We will overcome the fiscal challenge and continue to make Pennsylvania the rising new star of America.
The governor pledged to give the task that lies ahead the best that's in him, and he prayed for God's guidance and for the people's support in making that journey together. Mike Ross, 27 News, State Capitol.
Administration officials insist that no public money was used in today's inauguration. However, critics charge that giving 12,000 state employees the day off with pay has a $2 million price tag. And we're told the primary purpose for giving state workers the day off is to make room for parking for inauguration guests. Although closing the Capitol complex is an inaugural tradition, Republicans and state workers are expressing concern because it comes at the very time we have a soaring budget deficit and layoffs.
The demonstrators say the governor and the state aren't doing enough to help AIDS victims.
Shame on Bob! Shame on Bob!
This inauguration parade was not on the governor's agenda.
In essence, what we're saying is Bob Casey is a murderer.
The marchers arrived from across the state. They belong to the AIDS activist group ACT UP, and they did, in full view of guests and dignitaries.
Bob Casey, you can hide! We charge you with genocide!
As far as Pennsylvania goes, it ranks right up there in the top with the total number of people who are living with HIV or AIDS, and yet it's ranking pretty far down there with the number of money that's being allocated for programs.
The vocal chants and catcalls began well before the ceremonies and lasted until they were over. Uniformed and plainclothes police circled the protesters. There were watchful eyes and a lot of restraint.
Needless to say, they have a right to protest, and we're not going to interfere with that protest unless it interferes with the audience's ability to hear the speeches that are going to be given.
As the ceremonies wore on, some of the demonstrators slipped away. Some, but not all.
To find a solution to that problem.
At street level, it was hard to hear the governor's address over the constant litany of the protesters. Appeals to the protesters, even by the governor, were met by more chants.
We respect your right to dissent, but please respect the rights of all of the people who are here, who traveled many miles to be part of this historic ceremony.
When the ceremony ended, so did the protest, with a promise from some of the activists to keep their health concerns out in the open during the next 4 years of the Casey administration. George Richards, 27 News, Harrisburg.
Today's demonstration hit one protester in the pocketbook. A Philadelphia man was arrested and charged with disorderly conduct for allegedly using profanity during the protest. 21-year-old Brian Pomerantz was released but faces a $300 fine. There were no other arrests.
That the governor has not done enough to combat AIDS. Police say one man was arrested for disorderly conduct, but the protest did not prevent the ceremony from going forward. Earlier in the morning, Lieutenant Governor Mark Singal was sworn in for a second term. He was sworn in the state Senate chamber.
It marred the governor's inaugural ceremony, but as Ed Weinstock reports, it may be indicative of the problems facing Casey over the next 4 years.
Governor Casey began the day in church. He and his family and Lieutenant Governor Singal and his family attended Mass at St. Patrick's Cathedral, receiving prayers for dealing with the tough times that may be ahead for the state.
Millions of people look to you for leadership and know that they have a friend in the governor's mansion of Pennsylvania.
Lieutenant Governor Mark Singal was the first to take the oath of office. The ceremony was held in the state Senate chamber. Outside the Capitol, thousands of people waited for the big event, many of them state workers who had the day off. There was also a loud group of demonstrators and a large contingent of state police keeping a close eye on them. Police could be seen on rooftops. Despite the noisy protest, Governor Casey took the oath of office for a second term.
And that I will discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations, Mr. Governor.
Casey faces a difficult challenge in the coming weeks as he deals with the state's fiscal crisis. Since his election 2 months ago, Governor Casey's popularity has dimmed in the face of planned state layoffs and cutbacks. And it was obvious Casey was not happy with the latest protest. Still, Casey tried to remain upbeat.
We will overcome the fiscal challenge and continue to make Pennsylvania the rising new star of America.
His speech was of special interest to Barbara Hafer, the state auditor general who lost to Casey in a big way last November. Now she's hearing people say she was right about the state's fiscal problems.
We are facing tremendous deficits, and we're facing tremendous debt because we've borrowed extensively. So it's time to look forward.
Governor Casey says he will use strong, decisive action to deal with the state's economic problems. But it may not come in time to save the jobs of thousands of state workers who are slated to be laid off. At the state capitol, Ed Weinstock, News Channel 8.
Well, as we've just seen, protests were part of the Casey inauguration. Activists for increased funding for AIDS programs were very vocal. A group called ACT UP, a fairly new and nationwide organization, is known for its militant style. Patricia Lee has our story.
About 50 AIDS activists, most from the Philadelphia area, chanted and waved signs. The group, called ACT UP, is calling on Governor Casey to increase AIDS program funding and research. Some of the protesters have AIDS or are HIV positive.
We have the highest rate of heterosexual infection in the state in Lancaster County, and everyone's denying that it's happening.
These people say 4,300 people in Pennsylvania have AIDS, and they say by the end of Casey's second term, 10,000 people will have the disease. That's why they say funding is so desperately needed.
Pennsylvania ranks 7th in the amount of AIDS cases in the country. Last year, the state only spent $2.5 million. And compared to other states, it's very, very low.
The activists are especially upset because they feel the federal government isn't giving enough attention to the AIDS crisis, but all of its attention to the Persian Gulf crisis. One man here was arrested for disorderly conduct. Police stood guard.
They have every right to be here. Once the demonstration or their protests interfere with the governor's speech and everyone else isn't able to enjoy it or hear it, that's when we'll make a decision.
Apparently, police decided the protesters weren't noisy enough to make more arrests. But for many officers and spectators, this was the biggest protest disruption at an inaugural they could remember. Governor Casey was shouted at through his entire speech. He interrupted his address to say,
"You've made your point. Please let me make my point now."
Other spectators summed up the protest by simply calling the demonstrators obnoxious. Protesters left saying they were a success. At the Capitol, Patricia Lee, News Channel 8.